everybody, and welcome back to the Dodgers Port, and welcome back to me from holiday. Can I, before we jump into this battle, just say thank you so much. While I was on holiday, the Svetlana battle that I posted before going got over 400 views. Now, for someone like a big YouTuber, that's nothing. For me, that is huge. It's 4 times what my videos would normally get, so thank you very much for that. So quickly on with this one then. So this is the Vicente Guerrero. For the longest time I thought it was Vlad Guerrero until I realised that he's a baseball player, which is where I know that name from. But no, it's Vicente Guerrero. It is the first ship we're going to play that has guns in rotatable turrets rather than either side. 6 of them, quite a quick turning circle. And just a very quick one on its armour. It has got a pretty decent citadel in that it is very low to the waterline. As you can see here, it's 76mm. Unfortunately, it's not turtleback, it is flat, so you don't really want people hitting you here if you can avoid it. With that, let's shut up the waffle and let's get on with the battle. See you there. And here we are on the Vicente Guerrero. Apologies if that pronunciation is awful. The Pan-American Tier 3 cruiser. To be more specific, Mexican. Now this is the first of the cruisers that we played in this series that have not had guns port and starboard. The guns are all turreted, but they're very small turrets and they've got a fairly fast turning circle. However, here's a little trick for you. If you aim in the direction you want the guns to be pointed, and then hold the right mouse button down, you'll see it says free look in the middle of the screen. And now even though I'm looking around, the guns will stay pointing where I set them. And they'll do that until I release the right mouse button. This is particularly useful in ships with really slow turning circle guns, where you know in advance, I want them all to be turning and pointing to the port or starboard side, but I'm going to be looking around, and every time I look around the guns are going to move, which I don't want. So you can fix the guns by doing that. Just free look to the right or the left, hold the right mouse button down, and the guns, as you can see, will just stay there. Now why have I set the guns off to the starboard side? Well, my intention is to head towards this big island in front of me and then go hard a port so that all of my guns will then be to bear at anyone who's coming through that gap. On this map I do like to get kind of into the middle of this map. It's a little bit dicey, you can get pretty surrounded and ganked if you're not careful, but it's a really good place to impact the battle. So with that in mind, we will head in that direction. So the first piece of anticipation with this was to get the guns pointing in the right direction. Now I see a destroyer over there with camo, and I did notice when I looked at the game pre-game that he was the only member of the opposition team that's in a clan. That doesn't always mean anything, but usually it does. It usually means they're not a new player, and they may in fact be the most experienced player on the enemy team if they're the only one in a clan. So I decide very quickly to head over in this direction and see if we can stop the destroyer having an impact on this battle. Meanwhile, one of my allies does everything in his power and rams me. Thanks, mate. Now, if you're wondering why I didn't get out of the way, I was trying my darndest. I'd slowed all the way down and gone hard over, but he was probably in binocular view, and we've all done it. No point shouting at him in the chat, it happens. Didn't actually do me any damage. So there we are, giving some serious grief to the one claned up player in the game. And he's dead. So now we can relax a little. I like to stay reasonably close, as you know, to my own cap circle, so I can get back and defend it if I absolutely have to. But for now, while our guns are pointing in this direction, we may as well use them as effectively as we can. It's not a bad little ship, the Guerrero. It's a shame it doesn't have high explosive, because with no high explosive shells and no torpedoes, yeah, it does feel a little bit lightweight when you're dealing with enemy battleships. That said, its armor piercing shells are excellent. So I know I've got two ships aiming at me at the moment. And there's another citadel. It is a bit of a citadel monster, actually, if you play it reasonably. Now, even though these guns do turn quite quickly, I'm still trying to make use of the fact that they're pointing all to my starboard side and trying to keep these ships to my starboard. If I'd been on a ship with guns either side, I'd have probably gone harder starboard there. Oh, torpedoes. Let that go just behind and let that one go behind. There we go. No problem. There is a reason I'm called the Artful Dodger. Those were fairly easy to avoid. So we've got a ship in our cap zone. Let's make him aware of the fact that he's not going to be able to sit there and cap. No sir, not on my watch. As you can see from the score, 64 to 480. If they sink me or my one remaining ally, we lose. Look at that, 2 citadels at that range. Oh, say good night, Brenda. And this is what I mean about having to turn when you've got guns that don't sit either side of the ship. Even though they're quick, I've now got to wait for some of these guns to do a big spin around before I can bring all 6 guns to bear again. So I'm currently firing with just 3 guns. You can see from all the flame coming out of his turrets, that means his engine's as good as dead. So we don't need to allow any lead time here. Just put the shells straight on him. Now, it's getting a bit busier in the middle. One cruiser side on, giving me a lot of fun to aim at. Oh, torpedoes. Now, these are harder to avoid. Hard over and full astern. And just managed to get between them. And now quickly get the speed back up. Torpedoes passed me dead ahead. Now, second piece of anticipation. When you're playing these games, it's usually a really good idea if the TV remote is somewhere close to you, because when it does that annoying thing of saying, are you sure you mean the TV still be on, because you've been on the TV now for longer than is humanly possible, I couldn't find it. That's exactly what happened there, which is why I was sailing blindly towards that island. I had to quickly dive off the chair and go and find my TV remote on the table next to it before I could start playing again. And what that's done is that's cost me all of my speed. And I've got 3 ships firing at me now. Enemy cruiser sunk. So looking quite good at the moment. Oh, torpedoes. No way I can avoid that one. So if you can't avoid them all, take one. Oh no. Right. This time, however, yep. Nothing to do with turning there, that's all to do with speed. I just slowed my speed down so that the first torpedo went in front of me before I got to it. Problem is, again, I've lost all of my speed here, and one of the things about being able to dodge torpedoes, especially when you've got multiple ships firing them at you, is you need to have some momentum. So 2 ships against 4. He's decided to turn away. I'm aware I've got the other ship off my port bow. Oh, and slam the brakes on. Oh, just managed to hit me. I've got 22 seconds to go before my next heel comes back. Absolutely got to take one. And there is a problem. They've just disabled my steering, which I cannot repair for 47 seconds, which means I cannot currently steer. All I can do at the moment is change speed, which is a real problem, because I know he has torpedoes. Oh, but he's dead. Oh, torpedoes, and I cannot turn. So all I can do is slam the brakes on, and it's not going to be enough, is it? No, it's not. So there you go, proving you can't survive every battle no matter what you do sometimes. That said, if you can sink 5 ships before you get sunk, you're going to win an awful lot more battles than you don't. Thank you very much to my compatriot in that battle who did go on to win the battle for us. He was 1v2 in the end. I did say and watch the battle, and he did a fantastic job in sinking them both. My opinion on this Tier 3 cruiser, Pan American? It's not too bad. The guns, although they're not either side, so you have to wait for them to turn, they turn fairly quickly. It's quite manoeuvrable. It's not an amazingly good ship, but it's Tier 3. You don't expect amazingly good ships at Tier 3. As I said during the battle, I think the one thing it lacks is any way of really dealing with battleships. Although its armour-piercing shells are half decent, having no high explosive and no torpedoes when it's such a big target, it's really tough. I wouldn't want to be 1 versus 2 against 2 battleships at the end of the battle like we were in the previous one with the Svetlana, which could run away and just burn them down. It would be much harder in this ship. Well, I hope you really enjoyed this battle, and I'm glad to be back from holiday, and you'll see more regular video updates going forwards. Until then, bye bye.